Blackburn Rovers are a team that are currently on the up, and we'll just have a little look and an insight into what they could possibly achieve into the next season. Now, there's no secret that they've spent a lot of money, and John Eustace has got them on a really, really good project with the signings of such as Todd Cantwell and Yuki Ohashi. They've had a really, really good start to the season. Now, we're here with Jacob,
Hello.
and we'll just be looking at what they can achieve going into this season and also next, because they've had a really, really good playoff push this season, and I don't think many people actually expected it. But just for that, like, subscribe, and let's get straight into it. So obviously, last season Blackburn were on the fringes of relegation for most of the season due to John Dale Thomason. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of him. Um, he had them 19th, and if it weren't for Schmodics, then they would have got relegated. I think every Blackburn fan could admit that. They've had multiple errors and all that sort of stuff happen. They've let go two of the best players in Wharton and Schmodics last season. They let Wharton go, I think it was 36 million, I think. They had Schmodics go for 10 in the summer, and they've had a lot of reinvestment in their team. Now, they had a lot of people were not expecting them to be as high as they are. So last season there were obviously countless errors, especially from Ainsley Pears. He's another one that has stepped up this season. So the season before, though, which is funny, they were on the fringes of the playoffs until they bottled it. But again, this season is something incredible. So Eustace come in when they were around about 20th, I would have said. They sacked Thomason. They had a very, very low points tally. They had the biggest problem was their defence. Scoring goals was fine. It was Smolix that was really taking them forward. But their defence was quite a big issue, and Eustace obviously recognised that because he's a really, really good manager. So in the summer they brought in Mac Targay, their striker, for 1.8 million. Balaz Toth, the goalkeeper from Hungary, for 1.2. Todd Cantwell from Rangers, another championship name, from 590 grand. And then Andy Vyman and Danny Bath on free transfers. Now, again, these are really, really good signings, especially for Blackburn standard. And they had as well Smolix leaving the summer for 10.6 million or whatever it was. And again, he's a big loss, Smolix. It's very, very surprising that they are as high as they are, but I think as well the defence is what has ultimately kept them up there. You've seen they've had quite a few 1-0s in recent weeks. And Ainsley Pears has managed to step it up, which is unbelievable considering some of the errors that he's made. But all credit definitely does go to the goalkeeping team because they have done a really, really good job in developing him. Now, Jacob, what do you think so far of the season that they've had?
So personally, I was very expecting another relegation fight, and this has been a real surprise to see in January where we are, just outside the playoff places with a game in hand. I'm very impressed with the start so far. I think there is work to do in the January transfer window. I think we need a forward due to Matt Targay not being good enough for the championship yet, and he's not clinical enough. If we had took all our chances, I think we'd easily be in the top four. But he's just not been clinical enough. Yuki Ohashi's been putting him away at the start of the season, then he hadn't really scored since, but scored on Boxing Day against Sunderland, played well. And then the signing of Tom Cadwell was a really significant statement signing, but he's done okay so far, but he just needs to add more to the team, add more goals, add more assists. But I think that'll come with fitness. And like you said, Ainsley Pears has been a revelation this season. He was a real liability at the back last season with countless mistakes and that obvious embarrassment against Sheffield Wednesday at home that nearly sent us down, really. Thanks to Schmodics on the last day of the season against Leicester. But especially with the significant losses we've had, Adam Wharton, Schmodics, countless players within recent seasons like Brereton Diaz and Dak. But at the moment, it's looking up. We just need to add some more to the team. I think we need a forward and a winger. We're looking at Ryan Kent, the former Liverpool man and former Rangers man, and then Jeffrey Schlupp on loan, the Crystal Palace veteran and legend. So if we get them two, I think that'd be a really decent window and a few Premier League loans maybe to shore up at the back. I think we're looking good for playoffs in summer.
Yeah, the playoff push, I do think Blackburn will be in and around it. Obviously, previous seasons they haven't quite had enough to get over the line, especially in the season where they were second. I think it was 21-22 from the first part of the season, especially. And then they had that drop off after they lost to Wigan in the Cup and they couldn't make it over the line on the final day. And there was really countless errors in that 22-23 season when they had Ainsley Pears in net over Kaminski for at the end of the season the handball or controversial handball by Ben Wilson for Coventry's 1-1 draw with Blackburn. They had their own goal by Dom Hyam in at the end of the season at Deepdale. So there's a lot of missed opportunities. And then obviously as Thomason did get found out in the season last season, it really progressed. And for Blackburn, I'm very surprised that they are up there. They've had a real good go at it so far, but then again, they do need a striker, as Jacob said. Now, looking forward to next season, I do think there will be in and around there if they do get a striker in the summer again. Mac Targay is obviously not really at standard yet, and we've seen quite a few uh, comical errors that he's made, missing open goals type of thing. But then again, they have had some decent pulls, and they're looking at who was it again that you said, Jacob, that they're bringing in
Ryan Kent,
Ryan
there's
Kent, yeah.
Jeffrey Schlupp, and then they're also, personally, I don't agree with, but they're looking at spending nearly 4 million on Tello Asgard from your club, Wigan. I just don't think we need him because you might disagree, but I think Todd Campbell's a better player than Asgard, and they play in the same position in that number 10 role in the middle of the park, playmaker, and Asgard's not really a goal scorer, a number 9, and he's not a winger either, which is what we need. So I would rather the money be spent elsewhere.
All right. Again, yeah, Asgard for me as well. I don't think he will move to as Blackburn. I think he just won't get game time over Cantwell. He's not worth more than 3 million a push, I don't think. But again, it has been really good for Blackburn this season. They have had a decent push. However, they did lose in their derby just last week or a couple of days ago to Burnley. Now, that was a very tight game. However, they couldn't make the chances count. And again, they're left to rue the missed chances, which has been their biggest Achilles heel this season. They can't put the ball in the net. And it's going to cost them at some point because even though you've got a good defence like Wigan have, their attack's just not there at the minute. But Burnley are a team that, they've only conceded 9 goals and they've scored 31, which, is only 3 more than Blackburn, but they can put it in the net when it matters. And I think that's the issue with Blackburn. They haven't really scored too many goals or enough goals to get them in the top 6, and that could probably come back to bite them, I feel like, at the end of the season. So it's a big window this for Blackburn again. They have to get a striker. They have to get a winger, especially as soon as Dolan's good, but I just don't think he's got that end product in him. And again with Kozia Dewberry, chances like that 1-on-1 that he had at Millwall. Again, there's so many players in there that just don't have that final end product in them, and I think that's what's going to cost Blackburn at the end of the season. But they do have quite a few injuries. But then again, what club doesn't have injuries? They've had Sigurdsson, Pickering, Carter, Travis, Ohashi, Wharton. These are all key players that they have. But when they come back, I can't see them slipping up when they come back. But then again, just for now, they've got most of them are late January to return, but there's quite a few in there. These are really bad injuries. Like these are knee injuries, and these are surgery type injuries. They've had an ACL for Wharton, hamstring for Travis, knee injury for Carter and Pickering. So these are some bad injuries, and for them to be up there, I do quite rate Eustace as a coach as well. So I think they have done really well to get up there.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And just to round this all up and finish off, I think I think it is 1-2 season too early for Rovers to get in the playoffs. I think we'll be in and around there at the end of the season. I think, considering we nearly went down last season, I think around eighth place, ninth place will be a good finish, and then next season push off. I think if we get in the playoffs this season, it's a bonus, but I think mid-table will be a solid season.
Yeah, all right. So, again, another video done. Thank you very much for listening. We hope you've enjoyed. If you're a Blackburn fan, please leave your opinions down in the comments. But again, we do love reading them. So we'll be back next time. So until then, see you later.